Let me just ask you really quick.
Yeah.
You're saying that, you said that like 3 times, crossing the border. And,
Yeah.
there's all this controversy about the border right now. And so what was that like for an 8-year-old, and how scary must that have been for you to leave your world behind and, cross into the unknown? What do you remember about it, if anything?
Yeah, actually, I remember a lot. For me, it's I don't mind talking about it. I think it's just like it was part of my journey,
and I appreciate it. Yeah.
And when I hear people talk about immigrants and undocumented immigrants, and they have like a stereotypical idea of how they look, and maybe older men with a sombrero, and they don't barely speak any English, which is fine. There is a lot of those, but when they are saying, illegal aliens, they're also talking about the 9-year-old self.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking your heart in that moment. What do you remember about it? That must have been very. Yeah. That's a lot for a 9-year-old to take on.
Yeah.
Did you understand the meaning of it then, or was it?
It was kind of odd because I knew my mom was gone, and I was staying with my aunt and my cousins in Tijuana, and I was just waiting. My mom came to kind of establish herself, make sure she had a job and somewhere for me to arrive at.
But the first time you came, but you remember that?
The crazy thing is, for me, that didn't even feel like the second time I crossed was the time that was the most impactful one, because I crossed the border alone with a coyote and a group of about 10 to 11 people. I remember packing my bags, and I knew my aunt was explaining to me what's going to happen. Tomorrow they're going to pick you up, and you're going to go here, and this is this, and you're going to listen to this person, and, they're going to take care of you, and you're going to see your mom. And so in my head, I was like, I'm going to see my mom. That was like the only thing I could, I was just like, okay, I'm going to see my mom. And the next morning that happened, I got picked up by this man who happened to be like, I knew of him. He was kind of like a family friend, so he was familiar. He didn't feel like a stranger, and I felt comfortable around him. And so I go and I get picked up, and we go to the pharmacy because I had asthma. So I got all my stuff. And then we went to a hotel room, and I remember this, being at a hotel room with all these strangers, and we were just waiting to get the kind of like a Greyhound bus. We were there, and I remember them saying, oh, we've been trying to cross. This is going to be our 3rd time. Maybe you're our good luck charm. And me being a 9-year-old, I was like, I don't know what that means, but okay. But I remember that. And there was 2 ladies there. And the moment they saw me, they took me under their wing, and they're like, we're taking care of you. And I feel like that mother instinct kicked in. Yeah. It kicked in, and they were with me the entire time. We got into this bus, and we started driving off somewhere into the desert, and it was kind of like a mountain. And we were probably in the bus for about an hour, and then it stopped in the middle of nowhere. And then they're like, okay, it's time to get out. And we got out, and the rest of the group got out. And next thing you know, we're like, go around the bus, and we start walking towards the desert. And so at that time, it's kind of blurry. And I don't know if it's my brain trying to blur out, I don't remember too much. But I do remember us running and kind of being followed. And then we kept running so far, and then the group kind of like...
Who was following you?
Well, in my head, I think it was a cop. But they
were you in America at the time?
No, I was still in Tijuana.
Okay.
So what happened was we were running, and the ladies were with me, and then everybody kind of disappeared. Everybody went their own ways, and next thing you know, like a couple minutes later, the group kind of came together again. And we were in the desert already, and then when we were there, the ladies were, the cop was following us, but he wasn't going after us. He was going after the leader. So he didn't care about the two women and the child. He was going after the leader.
Who orchestrated it.
Yeah. But then, we were all together, and then we started walking. And I remember the first night, we walked a lot, and then that night there was this kind of house that was kind of in the distance, but there was this van, this white van, and inside the white van there was when they take the seats out and it's just like the yellow cushion of this. Yeah, we all kind of slept there, kind of.
God, this is like
spooning.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is like a lot for a 9-year-old to go through. I mean, you literally have details down to the color of the foam that's in the car. Like this is what, and I'm not. We're gonna go back to that. I'm just. It's incredible to me because, we have what we're teaching our kids at that age is so impactful. I mean, you saw so much at such a young age.
Yeah.
And I thank you for sharing this because
absolutely.
It's a story that's obviously embedded greatly in your mind and has helped develop who you are, right?
I truly, truly believe it is one of the most impactful things that happened to me and what follow after that. That
don't give it all away. You need to write this down. Like you need to write a story because you said Sinaloa, and I'm like, where have I heard that? Where have I heard that? There's a show on.
Oh yes, Narcos.
No, there's the other one with what's the other one?
Queen of the South.
Yeah, Queen of the South, which I watched.
Yes.
I binged watched that in the beginning of, and that takes place in Sinaloa.
Sinaloa, and it's
a couple
part
other
of
places.
the reason why my mom
decided
to get out because in Sinaloa there isn't. Don't get me wrong, I have incredibly talented family, became architects, teachers, engineers, business owners. Yes, but the opportunities are very limited. At some point you probably know somebody that works for somebody who's in that world, and
she wanted a safer environment for you.
She knew that there, and my mom was 28 and I'm 28 right now.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm thinking, man, if I had an 8-year-old right now, what would I do?
Yeah.
And I understand
why she did it. And are you an only child?
I am.
You are, okay. What has been some of your great challenges in the last 9-10 months? Or in general?
Well, so I actually have been pursuing acting for quite a while. I started when I was 15. I'm 27 now, just in case.
You're young. You're so young. You look 18, which is a compliment. You look so young.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
7 minutes ago she said she was 28, so
well, she's
by the end of the show she'll be 24.
Oh, well, I'm going to be 28.
You're going to be 42 also.
Oh, God. He's little. Don't listen to him.
I'd rather put,
Yeah.
That 28 sounds so much better than 27.
I'm halfway 27, you know what I mean? But I went to a performing arts high school in downtown LA. It was like a public high school. And my mom didn't know how to get me into. I was like obsessed. I was like, I want to do this. I have to do this. And she didn't, she's an immigrant mother. She doesn't speak English. We don't come from a lot of money. So she was just, the thing about my mom, she doesn't know how to help me, but the only thing she knows how to do is love me and support me. And that's all I need. That's all I need. Yeah. And she kind of she's just, on your way. So I started looking into stuff. I eventually found this public performing arts high school, and I was like, free art classes? I was like, hell yeah. And so I transferred my junior year, and I started there. However, I was still undocumented. I was still an illegal immigrant at that time. And, I was like, well, I'm doing what I love. I'm learning. I'm working on my craft. But it wasn't until I was 19 that the defer action for childhood arrivals became a thing. And I was able to apply for a work permit and a social and a driver's license. And even though all my friends were going off to NYU and they were going off to Harvard and UC Berkeley, and I kind of sit tight and was like, I don't know what's going to happen after I graduate high school. I might have to work will have to work under the table, or maybe I'll have to go back to Mexico. I don't know. I just know I wanted to do acting. This is all I've ever wanted to do. Ever since I found out that you can do acting and get paid for it, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I didn't end up applying for any colleges or schools because I would be charged out-of-state tuition. And my mom just, quite frankly, we didn't have the money for it. So, I decided, well, I'll work under the table. But that year after high school, I took random jobs, and that was challenging because in my heart, I knew that I wanted to be an actor. But I didn't have a work permit. I didn't have social, so I worked under the table, but I still decided to sign up for community college to take art classes, and that's all I did. And I applied, and that's literally all I did. I didn't care for getting my associates.
Then at what point did you actually transition? And you said you didn't have your papers, but then you ended up getting your papers. And so take us through that journey, because that must have been an amazing day too for you.
Yeah. So a year after I graduated high school, the DACA pass, right? And that was a big deal. I remember saying, oh my God, like my wish came true. I was like, all I wanted was an opportunity to follow my dreams, and I didn't care to become a citizen as long as I can follow my dreams. As long as I can follow my dreams and work here legally and not have to worry about a driver's license and getting pulled over or getting deported, that's like,
wow. So you knew immediately when you got here, you knew that was a possibility.
No. To get papers?
No, to go through all those things, like being deported, you knew that you could.
Yes.
And so you carried that from 9 to, how old were you when you got your papers?
19.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
It's 10 years of living in fear.
Yeah.
To some degree. Probably not every day, but.
I did. And it was difficult because I remember as a 13, like being really young, like 13, and trying to, like, I would Google almost every day being like, how can I get my citizenship? Like, maybe something that, there's a loop. Maybe there's something that I don't know. So I would Google and try to talk to, attorneys. And as a very young kid, because first of all, I wanted to go to a summer camp. And they were asking for social. And I was like, I don't have a social. Mm-hmm. And so I remember Googling it and then seeing those articles and comments of people being like, they don't belong here, they're taking our jobs, why should they get their paperwork if there's so many U.S. citizens that, don't have work, and if their parents brought them here legally, they don't belong here, like all these things. So, and as a 13-year-old seeing that, and at a moment, there was a point where I was like, they're right. Why should I get my paperwork? Why should I, get to chase my dream? And that in a way was a blessing in disguise, because since I didn't have access to all these things that my friends had, all these opportunities, I had to figure out how to do what I love somewhere else. I had to get creative. I had to search other places, and the desire of wanting to do this kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So when DACA passed, I was like, I'm going for it. And I even told myself when I was 15, I was like, if I'm going to be in this country, I'm going to follow my dream. And the day that I quit, I'm going back to Mexico, because it's not worth it being without my family. If I'm here doing what everybody else is doing and just like getting a job. And
so you got your papers at 19.
I got my work permit.
Your work permit.
I can work here legally, pay taxes, do the whole shebang, but I'm not considered a U.S. citizen or a resident, so I can't leave the country. I can, but if I leave, I won't be able to come back.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But to me, that was...
But once you've been a resident for 10 years, you can apply to be a citizen.
No, because I'm not a resident.
Oh, I got
Yeah, it was like a made-up law. It was like a little thing that was just kind of created.
Watch and listen to new episodes of The Coriolis Effect with me, Cory Oliver,
every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most other podcast distribution apps. We have fascinating guests from the entertainment, business, music, faith, and other industries who talk about their lives, opinions, beliefs, and upcoming projects. That's the Coriolis Effect with me, Cory Oliver.